Just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
Welcome to Good News with your host, Angela Savage. For the next hour, Angela will guide you on the road to happiness while describing her own journey with the help of friends and family of her father, championship racer Swede Savage. Phone lines are open at 702-483-4444. Once again, that's 702-483-4444. Or you can stream us online at vegasallnetradio.com. And now, let's start on the path of happiness together. Here's your host, Angela Savage.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Good News with Angela Savage on my 42nd birthday. I am so happy to have you here this morning. I have lots of wonderful stories to tell, and I can't wait to do it. Many of you know my father was Swede Savage. He was a champion motorsport person. He raced everything. It got him all the way to the Indy 500. First time in 1972. In 1973, he was leading the race, and in turn 4, he happened to have a very terrible crash, which turned into a fatality. My mom happened to be in the audience watching with me, 6 months pregnant. So I was born just a few months after my father died, and I've really struggled with that my whole life, having just missed this totally awesome person, and everyone seemed to know him except for me, and it's been a really tough journey getting to where I am now today to talk about it. So I want to start with 2 years ago, I was just being a mom in Boulder City and using Facebook as a hobby. You know, my friend Powell, he figured out who I was, and he started to ask me, would I ever go back to the Indy 500? Well, first I was like, no way in hell. But he badgered me the way Powell badgers, and eventually he got me to agree to come on the show, and he immediately went off to the side and started a grassroots campaign to get some money together to get me to the Indy 500 for the first time in 2014. And let me just tell you, it changed my life. It was like somebody finally plugged me into the wall. All these curses that I thought were on me were lifted immediately, and it seemed like at that moment, my father and I were reunited, you know, on a very deep, soulish level. So what's happening now is I'm getting this onpouring of love from the fabulous racing community, and everyone's ready to tell me their stories about Swede and their memories, or that they were there that day and that really affected them, you know, because it's pretty tragic, you know, for people to see something like that. Especially there was a lot of young children there. So people are coming to me and they want to tell me their experiences, and I just don't feel like I can save all this love for myself. I really want it to come to me and through me on my show so that I can share all of these stories with you. And I'm hoping all of Swede's fans and friends will get together their Swede stories and call in, and I really encourage you to be a part of my show. I want to make this a family environment because we're all in this together. Now, I pick Monday mornings because, you know, Monday mornings aren't the best morning for everybody, and I'm hoping to bring a little positive into the beginning of your week, you know, and start out on a hype note with some great stories and get you through the day, and if not that, the week. So I brought in Aaron. He's the owner here at the station. Vanar, why don't you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Yeah, I'm here this morning to officially welcome you to the Vegas All Net Radio family, and looking forward to some great things and great stories and great inspiration coming from this show, Angela. I think that the world will be your oyster as the weeks go on.
Wow. Well,
so we're excited to have you, and you know, I want all your listeners and friends to call into the studio at 702-483-4444 to show their love and support for you. And I know you got a great show lined up today for your first show to really share about the backstory of what you just talked about with that trip to Indy, and two individuals that played major roles in that. And I'm really excited to hear the story.
Yeah. You know, like I said, Paul, I really want to make it clear that he's the one that kind of broke open this whole new life for me. He should be calling in shortly to give me some details he has changed my whole life, and we like to call it a love fest because, that's really what it has been. And getting to know these people, they have this automatic love for me that I always needed but never knew was out there. So I just want to share it with you. And we've got a caller on the line. This looks like Scott's calling. Let's see what Scott has to say.
Hey, Angela, how are you?
I'm doing just great. How are you today?
Fantastic. I just want to say that I admire you. I admire your style, and love your dad, and you're doing a great thing here.
Oh, man, that just really means so much to me. Thanks for the positive reinforcement. Like I said, that my life feels like one big miracle right now, and I would feel terribly selfish just to save it all for myself, So I'm putting together this show to help share some of the love that I'm receiving from my dad's friends and family, and so that we can help other people, who struggle. I know we all struggle through everyday life, and I really hope to bring some positive encouragement, and some fun into the lives of my family and friends around me.
Scott, where are you calling from, Scott?
I'm calling from Atlanta, Paul.
Very good.
I'm sorry.
Aaron, that's okay.
Got your name wrong. Sorry.
That's okay.
But Atlanta, yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for calling in on the inaugural show.
Thank you so much for calling, Scott. We'll talk to you real soon, and I'm glad you're listening.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Take care. Next on the line, it looks like we have Danny. Danny, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, good, Angela. How you doing?
I'm doing just great. Thank you so much for calling.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I thought you were on at 7 this morning. I got up at 5:30 and eating breakfast and all excited, and I didn't do too well in geography. You're 3 hours ahead of us, not behind us.
I know. I'm going to have to figure out the time zones, too, because I've got people listening from Argentina, from France, from Australia, from Indianapolis, so I'll have to get some sort of, grasp on the time zones, too.
Yeah, well, we're all together. And I'll make it short, sweet, and quick, because I know you got other people that want to talk to you.
Where are you calling from? Can I ask you?
Pardon me?
Where are you calling from?
Oh, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Now, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, well, I wanted to tell you, a lot of us many years ago, we saw what happened. I was only 7 years old watching it on TV, what happened. And people have tried to get a hold of you through various ways, and I guess Facebook's a godsend in that respect. We all had some toughness to deal with. Obviously, you had quite a bit more than most of us. But you coming out, a lot of us had that vision, the last vision, and the memory of your father with that accident. And since you've come forward, your dad's accomplishments are now showing, and that accident is way, way behind. And I don't mean that in a derogative way.
I actually know exactly what you're saying. I really appreciate you for saying that too, because I am hearing that. It's that crash and that fiery explosion simply could not be the end of the story. You know what I mean? And it really took me, 40 years and a lot of magic to get to a place now where I can even talk about it. I spent my whole life really hiding from my origins. I couldn't handle it properly. So thank you so much for saying that. I feel like I'm at a place now where I can kind of pick up where he left off, and 40 years is, I think, enough time for us to mourn such an awful, awful thing. And now it's time to put the sadness behind us and celebrate what a wonderful man he was. I
agree 100%.
Thank you so much. And I never, I never realized the support and the outpouring of love that I have always had from his fans and his friends. I just didn't know it was there, and I really needed it my whole life. So now, at 40, I'm getting this huge onpouring of love that I always needed but never knew I had. So that's why I'm trying to share it with you and the listeners.
Oh, and anybody that's friends with you on Facebook can see it, and it's great that people are coming out and sharing those wonderful memories and the accomplishments that your dad did. I mean, I never knew he raced motorcycles. I thought I knew everything about him. I mean, the guy could get in and drive anything. And not only drive it, but drive it up front.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite parts of his career. I think is the speedway, dirt track. Going sideways around the corners. Ascot. I just really love that, and it's no secret anymore that had my dad lived and things turned out differently, I would have followed in his footsteps. I do have the racer spirit And I didn't get a chance to do that, but now, I get to be a part of the motorsports world in maybe a little safer way and a fun way. And I get to share all these great stories with people like you.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, look, I'll let you go because I know you got other people. But Angela, thanks again, and thanks for coming out. You've helped a lot of us heal, and we're all thankful for that. I can speak for a lot of us.
Thank you so much. God bless you. You have such a great day.
You too. We'll talk to you on Facebook from time to time for sure.
Yes, stay close.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye now. So, that was fun. Paul should be calling in any minute. Is Paul on the line yet? Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and talk to Ted? Ted Woerner here next to me, he runs the Miles Ahead Motoring School at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it's probably easy to say he's one of my dad's best fans, one of the top fans. He really, really loved my dad. He was one of the kids that wouldn't do schoolwork in the school classroom, but was drawing race cars on the teepees or on the peaches, right? So when Ted found out that Paul Powell was trying to get me to come to the Indianapolis 500 in 2014, he jumped right on board and was excited and wanted to help. And he actually set up a wonderful evening for me at the Indianapolis Museum of Art, which I'm really a big art fan, and Ted picked up on that. So that meant so much to me, and it was we had a stage, and it was really a fun, life-changing evening. I kind of got my first taste of the fact that people still really care. Nobody forgot, and there's still so much love. Now talk to me, Ted. Tell me when you first heard about me coming.
Well, I was very fortunate to meet Paul in Indianapolis, and through Facebook, of course. I didn't know who Paul was. He asked me to be his Facebook friend. Didn't know who he was, and found out that he was heavily involved in racing, was a personal friend of Mark Donahue, who was another one of my favorite drivers. But then when I heard that he was trying to get you to come to Indianapolis for the first time, I was like, my gosh. I mean, I had heard all about the fact that your mother was pregnant at the time of the crash. I never knew if that was a boy or girl that was born shortly thereafter. Never knew anything, because back then, unlike today, where everything's instant news, there was no news. I mean, especially I was in suburban Chicago, and everything was all about the Cubs and the White Sox and stuff, and there was very little more said about your father after the crash at Indy. So I always had this curiosity. What happened to Swede's family? Because when I was 11 years old at the time that Swede passed, and big race fan, a big fan of your dad's. I mean, when you grow up in suburban Chicago, everything in California seems like it's a dream world. So I had this ideal of what California was like, and Swede epitomized all that. The blonde hair, the dashing, the beautiful
Coolest
wife,
of the cool.
and I just figured California was nothing but palm trees and surfers, and here comes
riders.
Swede into the IndyCar scene with that persona at a time when it was all kind of hard guys, and AJ Foyt and Lloyd Ruby, and guys that were quite a bit different from Swede. So he was a breath of fresh air for so many of us. And so when I found out that Paul was organizing this trip, I just introduced myself and I said, how can I help? And it just kind of took off from there, and it kind of took on a life of its own.
And I really have developed lifelong relationships with these people around me, and it's just really nice to feel like I finally found my place to belong, which I never felt like I had. I always felt like I was in the wrong place, the wrong time, doing the wrong thing, and everything's changed for me now. Getting back to the track, it put things together for me, and now I feel like I'm on the right track, going the right direction, and so that's always a really good feeling. Let me ask you a couple of personal questions, if I may.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about your background. Where'd you grow up, and how did you become interested in racing?
Grew up in suburban Chicago. My father grew up in Indianapolis, however, so when you do that, it's you just go to the racetrack, and we did that. And my first time at the Speedway was 1967 when Parnelli Jones drove the number 40 STP.
Oh, good. Oh, wow.
Special.
Hold that thought. I think we got to run to a break real quick. We'll be back in just a moment.
'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
Welcome back. Let's get back on the path to happiness. Once again, here's Angela Savage.
Hello and welcome back to Good News with Angela Savage. I've got my buddy, Paul Powell, on the line to talk about just how we got me back to the track at Indy in 2014. How you doing, Paul?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I can see your face over there on Skype, you cutie.
That's scary.
So I want to just get right into some really good questions for you. Do you mind?
No, not at all.
Right on. Tell us a little bit about your background, Paul. Where'd you grow up, and when did you become interested in racing?
Well, my whole life has been involved with racing. I grew up in South Bend, Indiana. My father worked for Volkswagen, and we traveled all over Indiana and Michigan for the first, 8-9 years of my life, or eight or ninth grade of my life. They actually worked for SCCA as a tech inspectors for many, many years. So we went from racetrack to racetrack many times as growing up. I can remember being at Elkhart Lake in 57, 58. So
Wow.
I kind of grew up around racing.
Have you ever done any racing? What were your goals in racing personally?
I did. I ran a B production Corvette for a few years.
Corvette.
And many Daytona 24 hours in different classes. Never did that well, but I always had fun doing it. My
Right.
goal in racing was always to win the Indy 500 like every little kid.
Right.
But soon came to find out that
It
that
takes a
just
lot to
wasn't
get to
happening.
that point, doesn't it? It's not easy.
Angela,
Pardon?
what'd you say, hon?
Oh, I can't remember. Let's just move on. Now I know you have a really close relationship to Mark Donahue, another very famous racer. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, Mark and I met. He was always a big hero of mine, and I actually met him in a restaurant up in Elkhart Lake, and we fast became friends. We had some mutual friends named Don and Ruth Nixon that my parents had, and with Don and Ruth, we just had a really, we got together and started talking, and we ended up being very, very close friends. He ended up being kind of like my older brother.
Paul, this is Aaron. I'm sitting in the studio with Angela. Can you turn down the volume on your computer because we're getting
Is that better?
we're getting feedback.
How about that?
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect.
You hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you fine.
I can't hear you very well.
Oh, shoot.
I will turn it up to hear us, but just be careful with the volume because we're hearing Angela feeding back from your end.
Don't worry about
How
it.
about that?
It's
Is
all
that better?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about that.
That's
no
okay.
worries. Okay, now, Paul, what memories specifically do you have of my father, Swede Savage?
I remember just being a big fan of his, and I remember going to Elkhart Lake in a driver's meeting with Mark Donahue, and Swede was very close by, and I made Mark go introduce me to him.
Nice.
And he went over and introduced me to him, and I was just always a big fan. And Ted will tell you this, everybody my age wanted to be Swede Savage or somebody just like him. He was everybody's hero. He was the best looking guy in the place, and he was a wonderful race driver. He just was a really, really neat guy.
Wow. I have to be honest. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about my father and his character, not to mention the fact that he's so good looking it should be illegal. But I can't, it just makes me really proud to not only was he just an amazing racer, motorsport spirit, but apparently he had this great character that shined through him, and nobody has anything bad to say about him, and that just really makes me so proud. Besides his accomplishments, I love the impression that he gave and the love that he gave to his friends and fans. It seems like it left a nice impression.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, so how did you first get the idea to bring me to Indy?
Oh, man, I don't really know, to be honest with you. I'll tell you my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right.
You and I became friends on there,
On
and I thought
Facebook.
it was a shame that you weren't at the track. And, I knew how big of a celebrity that Swede was and how popular he was. People talked about him 35, 40 years after he perished.
Right.
And, I just trying to figure out how to get you there. And I know you didn't want to go at first. And
The last place I would, I just didn't see the vision on why would I want to go there, But you badgered me in the Paul Powell
I did.
badgery fashion. Thank God.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't badger people.
Yeah. Did you have anything specific in mind for the trip, or were you just kind of winging it and seeing how it panned out?
To be honest with you, I was kind of winging it. I just didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't have a lot of finances to help you. But I thought, well, we'll start a thing on Facebook to try to see what kind of interest there are.
Right.
And I really didn't know whether it was going to go anywhere or not. I really
Well,
didn't. I
and it
prayed
sure
that
did, don't we know? Paul, I got to just put you on hold just for a second so I can take a caller, and I'll be right back with you, okay?
That's fine.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Connie. How are you today?
Hi, Angela. How are you?
I'm just dandy. Thanks for calling.
Awesome. Yes. Well, I would have missed it.
Oh,
I had to be one of your callers on your first show and tell you how supportive all of us God's gals are for you.
Oh, wow. This is Connie. She's part of my church group, actually, a really nice group of ladies that I'm lucky enough to be a part of now, and they're giving me a lot of support on my new adventure in my life. And thank you so much for your support, Connie. I can't tell you how much that means that you called in, and I'll see you Thursday.
Absolutely.
All right. God bless you.
Let's
Have a
have
good
fun.
day. Wait, I want to ask you, do you have any memories of my father, Sweet Savage?
Man, I sure wish I could say I did, but
That's all right.
I'm not a big NASCAR fan, or that's kind of something I'm just new getting into. And to
Right.
be honest, all that I'm hearing about your father, I'm just like, wow.
Well, this is just the
So I'm
beginning,
ready to
Connie.
Google
We're
it.
gonna we'll get you all up to
Careful,
speed
I
with
don't
all
know,
the
but I
stories.
don't,
Yeah,
unfortunately, but I'm going to remedy that.
yeah. Well, I'll get you all up to speed. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go for now, Connie. I'll see you Thursday.
Certainly.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, good luck, and you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you so much. Bye now.
All right.
Jerry Ann, is this Bub?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is my really, really good friend, Jerry Ann Hansen, calling in from Boulder City. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm just working, listening to you on the radio. It's awesome.
Oh, this is so much fun. Now, see, Jerry Ann, when I met her, she had no idea my backstory at all. So she and I really became friends before all of this. So she's kind of had an opportunity to see me make a full turnaround in my life, a big change in my life. Is that correct, Bub?
Yes, and it's awesome. I love to see you so happy. You deserve it.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, she knows I struggle and I cry a lot, you know, and I do have to make it 24 hours at a time. And she's just been, Bob, you've been a really great, loving friend and good support for me. And I love you for calling. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I love you.
Okay, we got to do that lunch, and we have to quit saying we're going to do it. We got to actually do it.
Exactly. When you're
Okay.
not so busy.
I love you, and I'll talk to you real soon.
All right. Love
Have
you.
a great day.
You too.
All right. We got Paul back on the line.
I'm here, hon.
Hi, babe. Good to
Hello.
have you back. Okay, so you've done a couple of Mark Donahue reunion events in the past years for friends and team members and current owners of his racing cars. Can you tell us a little bit about those events and how they might have been similar or different to the one that you threw on for me?
Well, I'm very much into motorsports history, as you already know. And I always loved Mark. And after he passed away, unfortunately, I wanted to keep his memory alive for a lot of people. So I just had these reunions, bringing all their crew and all the cars, everybody together to a few places. And yours is similar, but not similar. In fact, it's been more fun because you're a lot more receptive, just have enjoyed doing this for you and with you. Because, a lot of the Donahue family, they're very appreciative, but they weren't as excited. And you made it fun for everybody, I think. And
Well, it
brought
certainly
lot
turned into a
of
love
my,
festival, did it not?
It did. We were all just a big love fest.
Just a love
And-
fest, and now I think we've made friends for life through this, thanks to you and through coming together this way.
Well, it's my pleasure. You brought many people together, as you know, more than you'll ever know.
Maybe.
All the people who got together to plan bringing you here the first time.
Well, like I said before, it was a lot of love and support that I realized was always there for me, that I always needed, but I didn't know it was there. So you really broke the top off of all of this for me, Paul, and I'll always love you for it, and I'll thank you
Well,
till the day I die.
I love you very, very much, and you're like my family now.
Yeah,
and,
we're family for sure. Now, how did you and Ted Woerner connect?
God, you'll have to ask Ted that.
Okay. I will.
No.
Now, what do you do currently?
Pardon? What do I do currently?
Uh-huh.
I deliver nuclear medicines for a place called Cardinal Health.
Wow.
I go to nuclear pharmacies and deliver medicine to them.
So you have a big old hazmat suit. You're going to be hazmat man for Halloween?
No, I don't have a hazmat.
Oh, I want to see you in the hazmat.
A
We'll
thing
make it
to
stylish.
check my radiation and everything. Make sure there's no problem.
Now, part of my show is going to be about helping other people maybe overcome some difficult times in their life, or I'd really like to give some encouragement to people. Now, I've struggled my entire life with depression and symptoms of PTSD and all kinds of stuff, and I've really had to overcome challenges to get to where I am today, and a lot of it had to do with you getting me to Indy. Now, have you ever faced any major challenges in your life, and did you ever feel helpless and alone, and what did you do to overcome those feelings?
I would have to say God is the answer to every one of those questions.
Amen.
I fought depression all my life also, like you.
Yeah.
And there's been times in my life I had no idea why I was going on.
Amen.
And I'm a living proof of the psalm about footprints in the sand.
Yeah.
Because every time I didn't think God was there, I realized later that He was the one keeping me alive and keeping me up and walking for me.
Amen.
But,
well, I'm just really glad that now we get to move forward in our lives together, and we can give each other support when we need it, and also to know that, everybody struggles. Everybody has their own things that they're dealing with. So remember to be, a little bit nicer to everybody around you, because we're all in this together.
And you've helped me there a lot, because I was a pretty negative person sometimes, as you know. And sometimes I just am not the person that I want to be.
Well, we got to remember our attitude determines our latitude.
That's right.
Yeah.
You helped me in that distance, and more than you ever know, because I just, Cheryl and I were walking somewhere the other day, and I started making a snide remark, and it's like, nope, not going to do that.
It doesn't even feel right in your soul anymore. I got to go to break for a minute, Paul. You want to hang on a sec?
That's fine. Take your time.
Thanks.
Welcome back. Let's get back on the path to happiness. Once again, here's Angela Savage.
Hello, welcome back to Good News with Angela Savage on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. on Vegas Allnet Radio. I have a caller on the line. Jason, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Angela. How are you?
It's Jason Reichart. How's my buddy Jace?
Good. How are you, Angela?
I'm doing just great. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. I really appreciate you letting me on the show.
Awesome. Now, why don't we just go straight to you? What is it that you do that has to do with motorsports? Why don't you let us in on who you are?
I'm an open wheel race car driver for Huddy Motorsports.
Awesome. And so how did you get started?
I actually started in go-karts, and I worked my way up to open wheel cars.
Open wheel cars, you're doing Formula now, right?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Huddy Motorsports is a really awesome team. They got some great cars. Keep your eye on that team. Jason is a wonderful young man that I met just a couple years ago, and he's got a long career ahead of him. He's the kid to watch here. So keep your eyes on Jason. What helps you stay strong, and how do you keep your nerves down before you get in a race, Jace?
Well, I mean, if you ever experience a time when you're not winning races and you're losing a lot, you have to always remember that in the past you've done really great things. And you always have that to fall back on to boost your spirit up if you're ever in a slump of not having good race results.
Right. That kind of goes. My son Chance gave me some really good advice. He said, Mom, don't worry about being your best. You don't have to worry about being your best all the time. Just be you, and then your best will come out. So I think that's really positive. A good advice, Jason. Now, do you have something special on your helmet that you think carries you through some of these fun races?
I actually have a religious quote on my helmet. It says, "I can do everything through God." It's Philippians 4:13, and it's right on the back of my helmet.
Representing. I love that. Hey, having God with you on the track will never be a bad thing. I'll tell you that. And so what do you have coming up? When's your next race?
I'm actually racing this weekend. I'll be racing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I'll be there.
In the Formula Ford Series.
That's right. I'm coming out. I'll be there. Maybe I'll get you on my radio show while we're out there. I'll be in the media room, so I'll see you there. I'm really excited. All right, Jason, thank you so much for calling. I'll talk to you real soon. Give your mom and dad big hugs for me and your sister, and I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity, Angela.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Paul, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. I want to get back to you and Ted a little bit. Tell me how you hooked up with Ted in the very beginning.
Well, Ted actually contacted me. He'd heard about the deal I was trying to do with you, and we met on a Sunday morning at Starbucks and started talking, and I'd talked to a lot of people before Ted, and they had a lot of these ideas, and nobody wanted to. Everybody has ideas, but they don't want to do anything to help with it.
Right.
And Ted has been the perfect partner, and we have become close friends, and we'll probably be forever friends like you and I.
Yeah. There really has been a coming together of spirits in this, and I feel like I found, I finally, like I said, I found my place to belong, and people that can love me and understand. I might have some quirks, like I said, I've struggled, just to get through some days, and it's really nice to be around a group of people that understand why I might, have some troubles, or why I might be a little quirky. That was kind of a tough existence to be born into, to say the least.
Yeah, when you're family, we accept you no matter what. So.
Yeah, and it's somewhat of a new concept to me, and I really appreciate it. It just feels like I finally found my home.
And I know Ted feels the very same way I do about you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He does. Yeah. He does. All right, Paul. Well, I think unless you have something else you want to throw in for now, I think we'll go ahead and let you go. Continue to listen to the show if you like. I can't wait to get there next year. Where are we sitting?
Not sure where you want to sit.
I don't, to be honest, I don't even care. Just as long as I'm on the premises.
And next year's 100th anniversary, so.
Oh, it's the 100th anniversary for Indy 500. So if you're ever going to go to the Indy 500, go this year. It's going to be a zoo, but it's going to be a wonderful zoo.
And thank you for having me as a guest.
Oh, thank you for being you, and for being one of my best friends, and for changing my entire life, and for getting me back to where I need to be.
I'm glad to be a part of it, hon.
Oh, love you. I'll talk to you real soon.
I love you.
Hey, you didn't tell me happy birthday yet. Don't forget a happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Today happens to be my... Thanks, Paul.
Bye-bye,
we'll talk to you soon. Love ya.
Love you.
Today happens to be my 42nd birthday, which most of you know was my dad's favorite car number. So I think this is just the best birthday present I could possibly ask for. Now I'm going to turn here to my in-studio guest, Ted Woerner. How you doing, Ted?
I'm doing great. Just enjoying the whole conversation. It's fantastic.
So good to have you here.
It's great to relive all this. It's magic.
We're going to do this a lot. I want to get right to some questions about you,
Sure,
okay?
sure, absolutely.
Now tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up, and how did you become interested in racing?
Well, so I grew up in suburban Chicago, but my father grew up in Indianapolis, and as most families did back then, they would take the family out to the track in the month of May. Time trials back then, or qualifications as they're called now, were a big deal, big. And then so I went to the track for the first time in '67, saw Parnelli Jones in the number 40 STP oil treatment special, the turbine, which made a huge impression on me. The car was Dayglow red, and it was fast, and it just captivated me. So that when I went back to the track with my dad, my best friend in 1973, well, lo and behold, here's this dashing Californian with blonde hair, good-looking guy, new guy on the scene, driving the STP number 40.
Those cars were something, weren't they, with that Dayglow?
Well, yeah, and I knew that an STP was like Red Bull is now. I mean, it was ubiquitous. STP was everywhere. Andy Granatelli was the chairman of that company, and it was just amazing. So
he just passed a few days ago, didn't he?
Well,
yes, he did. 90 years old. Rest in peace, Andy Granatelli.
Yeah. I mean, just an amazing promoter. And STP was was promoted as the Racer's Edge. There was a song and a jingle about that. Everybody knew it, and there was a funny cartoon once where the astronauts were picking something up off the moon, and one astronaut says to the other, "What did you find on the moon?" And he said, "It's an STP sticker."
No way! I didn't know that. Aaron, did you have something
STP
you
was
wanted to?
No, I was as Ted was mentioning that my favorite STP commercial was that big heavy duty wrestler that tried to get the screwdriver out of the can of
the
oil.
sumo wrestler.
Right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of how thick the STP was and all that. That was the first commercial popped into my head. But yeah, you hit it right on the head. STP was like Red Bull today.
Oh yeah,
it was all
everywhere.
over. Absolutely.
Well, even not being in my family, we did do racing. We were water ski racers, and my stepdad raced speedboats, so we were really in the motorsport world, just in a totally different world and disconnected from Swede. But
right.
But growing up, that STP, that logo, same with Bell. STP and Bell, just something about when I see the logo, it feels like family. I don't know how to really get the words out right for that, but I have a really sentimental bond with STP and Bell. It's like they're like my brothers growing up, and I always just felt good when I saw their S.
Well, and then myself and my friends, like young guys all over the country. I mean, you'd had an STP sticker on your bicycle, or multiple STP stickers. I mean, it was just what you did. But Swede became a big favorite of mine very quickly. And I was fortunate enough to be at pole day qualifying at Indianapolis in 1973 when he broke the track record. He was the first driver that day to break the track record, and it had to be the largest crowd in Indy pole day qualifying ever. Everyone was anticipating the first 200-mile-per-hour lap. Swede was the first to break the track record, and I'll never forget. I don't know why this sticks in my memory, but I remember driving into the track stuck in this massive traffic jam, and the radio host they were interviewing people on the street. Who's going to win the pole today? Who's going to win the pole? And people kept saying, "Oh, Swede Savage, Johnny Rutherford, Bobby Unser, Swede Savage, Johnny Rutherford, Swede Savage," and Swede Savage's name kept coming up, and I'm like, "That's my man." So saw him break the track record. It was a special time, and just to think that what we've done since then is just amazing with you and your family. It's just incredible.
It is amazing. It's a miracle for me. It's like a breakthrough. Some people don't get to have this kind of experience in 5 lifetimes. So I just feel so incredibly lucky and honored. Before this felt like nothing short of a curse. Why would I have to be born into this awful thing? Well, and it messed me up, and I didn't handle it properly at all for the first 40 years. I was in real trouble, but now it's turning into something bittersweet, even more on the sweet side now.
Well, and I think Paul, myself, and everybody who's followed your story. I mean, we didn't nearly have the same level of grief, obviously, as you and your family did, but there was a loss there. I was 11 years old when your father died, and my hero was gone, and I never knew anything more. That was it. That was the end of the story. And then so for 40 years later, to come into contact with you through Paul, to meet Swede's brother Bruce, who was part of the reunion. I mean, Bruce is a delightful guy.
I had
Love
to bring
meeting
him with me.
Love meeting Bruce. What a great guy. And it's just it's nothing short of miraculous that and knowing you and getting to know you kind of healed our hurt a little bit. I mean, we were young kids when that happened. That's a tough thing for a young kid to lose a hero. And then to never hear anything more. I mean, like I said before, I knew that your mother was expecting when Swede had his crash, and I never heard whether you were a boy or girl.
Yeah.
Never knew where you lived.
I was going to be a boy.
Didn't know. Oh, really?
They did.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
They were going to name me Indy, actually.
Wow.
Indy Savage was
going
to be my name, but due to circumstances, I became the Angel instead.
Oh, of course.
Now, have you done any racing? And what were your goals?
I did actually when I was went through college, because I always figured, well, I've got to have a college degree to fall back on in case my racing doesn't work out, which proved to be a very wise decision. But I raced for a couple years out of college in the Skip Barber Race Series. Won a few races in that, but did well enough to know that had the financial realities of the sport have been different. I could have gone on and do other things, but that's okay. I don't have any regrets. I did what I wanted to do. I know what it's like to drive a race car and compete and win.
Yeah.
And I drove on many of the tracks that your father raced on, which was pretty cool. I didn't know it at the time. I know it now, and had I known that then, I probably would have gotten a lot more excited and maybe a lot more emotional in the cockpit.
Now, your favorite memory of my father is that when he broke the track record.
Yeah, no question. And when you see the photos of him in pit lane, I mean, he's like a rock star.
Yeah,
He's
that's what I have
Sweet
actually
Savage.
on my business card is me next to that moment when all the cameras were on him. I mean, rock star.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
he's just surrounded by
he
paparazzi.
was absolutely a star on the rise. There's no question about it. And he backed it up with results. I mean, he wasn't just other drivers come on the scene with a big marketing campaign. They're very attractive. They do ad shots, but they don't produce on the track. Your dad produced on the track.
Right.
And he was magnetic to the media. He didn't try to be.
Right.
But that was part of the appeal. I think that's why people liked him because he was just who he was, this California cool guy who could get it done in the race car. And, just...
And I hear that he was a really funny guy, too, which I like. He was always keeping people's spirits up and cracking a joke. And even in the hospital, laying in his bed, you picture the two casts up in the air or whatever. The nurse would walk by and he'd, swing his leg and kick her in the behind as she walked by. And she'd turn around like, what happened? And my mom would be like, I don't know. And he's just laying there, pretending like...
Amazing.
Yeah, he was, until the last day, he was cracking jokes. Now, I need to take a quick break again for just a moment, if you don't mind waiting. We'll be right back with Good News with Angela Savage.
Welcome back. Let's get back on the path to happiness. Once again, here's Angela Savage.
Hello, and welcome back to the Good News. I think everybody needs a little bit of good news on a Monday morning. It's a great way to start the week, so that's why I picked Mondays, to get some happiness in you before you got a long week to deal with. I'm going to go right back into Ted I was talking to before break. I'd like to know, what do you do currently, Ted?
What I do currently? Well, I'm fortunate to co-own a business called Miles Ahead. We conduct the Mini Motoring School for Mini USA. Mini is the iconic British car that is now owned and manufactured by BMW. We've been very, very proud to be partnered with them for 4 years now. And we conduct driving programs at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. My partner is Stefan Gregoire, 7-time Indy 500 driver, competitor, raced all over the world. Met Stefan shortly after moving to Indianapolis, and I helped him develop sponsorship for his racing career. We've got a great friendship and a great business partnership ever since then, and so it's great. And as you know, Angela, we were very since I got to know you and Stefan, heard your story as well. We just couldn't wait to get you to Indy, to get into one of our John Cooper Works hardtops and get out on the very track that your dad competed and achieved some of the best highlights of his career in. So
yes, you did. That was definitely one of the best gifts I could ever be given. Ted and Stefan flew me out to the track to do the Mini Cooper course, and it was amazing. I wore my dad's jacket, his very famous Plymouth Cuda jacket with the blue and the rainbow colors, and I got to hop in a Mini and stand on it, and essentially I got to finish the lap that my dad never got to finish. And what an amazing feeling, kind of tying that circle back together so that now we can start with this new reality, after we finish the lap. And I was really proud to have my son, Chance Savage, with me. He's the spitting image of Swede. So he looked really cute walking around, with his bell cap on, his vintage bell style cap on. And he got to watch his mom standing on it, going around the Indy 500. And, I'm driving. There's a hard right just before turn 4, so I'm standing on it and it's a long course too.
2.6 miles. We run the full road course.
I was so impressed. It's not like you get on this roller coaster and then it's over so fast. It just kept going and going and going, and it really allowed a lot of time to improve your marks, to hit your exit cones right, stay on the line.
Yeah, well, listen to her. She sounds like a pro already.
Look at that.
It was awesome, and having my son was sitting on the track in Stefan Gregoire's truck, and he had his little head popped out every time I came by, and he was giving me the you got this. And And so having him there with me watching and finishing the lap for my dad, I can't wait to do it again. I'll tell you
Well,
that.
it was a thrill, and and for me as well. You maybe don't even realize how much of a thrill it was for me to have been in a position to offer that opportunity to you, and furthermore, then I took Chance out for a couple laps.
Yeah, Chance got to go around the oval.
Not 100% laps, but we went fast enough so that he could understand what that was like and what his grandfather experienced, and he had a great time. And I'll never forget coming out into the main straightaway once your group was coming up behind us, so I pulled off to the right. Chance was with me, and I saw you go by. So here is the daughter and grandson of my racing hero on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in a program that I had something to do with. It was just an experience I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing.
Really something else. And not only that, but your instructors are really something that we need to talk about. I mean, first of all, you've got Stefan Guegor, 7-time Indy 500 driver. We all know it takes quite a man to get to that point. And then we also have 2-time Rookie of the Year, Gabby Chavez.
Gabby was Rookie of the Year in the Indianapolis 500 this year, and also Rookie of the Year in the series for the entire season. In fact, he was in contention to win at Pocono. So Gabby's a remarkable driver. Zach Veach is also another one of our instructors. Pippa Mann. Who has been in the Indianapolis 500 4 times, including this year. We're very fortunate that we have an internationally accomplished group of racers right in Indy. Because
it's kind of amazing. It doesn't at all feel like you're in a class. It feels like you're hanging out with the guys and the gals. Pippa, she's so rad. Girl power, Pippa.
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
Yeah. So you really feel like you're one of them.
It is, and they're so delightful, and they're so aware that you don't get to that point in your career where you're racing at Indy without being socially capable, because of their interaction with sponsors. Right. And that just carries over into all their interpersonal relationships. So, yeah, it's a great team for sure.
Oh, really great. Well,
Can I jump in here for a quick question?
Yeah, please do.
All right, you're up against the end of the show. I just want to comment, then I'll make it a comment. Every once in a while in our life, we're given the opportunity or we question what we're here on this earth to do. And Ted, after hearing your story, hearing the background more about what you're doing with the Mini and really putting the cap on it, having Chance in the car and then seeing her whiz by, that I think for you it had to have been a culmination of realizing this is what I did all this for to this point.
Exactly. Because I've had some, Stefan and I have had, it hasn't always been easy getting the business off the ground. I never dreamed in my wildest dreams that when we were starting this business that I personally would have had that moment. Stefan, of course, is extremely supportive of everything we do to support you and the show. But it was really an amazing culmination, really. And 40 years later, I mean, my drawings of Sweet Savage were on my 6th grade bulletin board in the classroom.
Which I still need to see. You haven't shown me your drawings yet. So anybody that has any drawings and any stories that you want to share with me regarding my dad, please don't hesitate. Get your stories together and call in. The number here is 702-483-4444. Please write it down for next time. I want this show to be kind of a group family effort because we are all in this together and we all struggle through daily life. So let's get some positive stories together. If you have any story of overcoming and that sort of thing, I want to incorporate that into the show too because we're all just trying to get on to the next day. So let's focus on the good news. I think I have a caller. No caller. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ted, for coming on the show today. I this is really something else. I know this is the start of something really great. So I'm looking forward to every morning. Good News with Angela Savage.
Views and opinions expressed on this